experience. What do we record on? Well, this is our 24-track recorder. Gone are the days of our 16 and 24-track on 2-inch tape, big analog recorders. We've had to keep up with the rest of the world, and all of the recorders are plugged in to each other, and they all synchronize with each other so accurately that you can actually record different instruments on different machines from the same performance, and they all stay in perfect sync, which is great. And we moved on from 24-bit, we're now 32-bit, and every step forward in digital, which at the moment is not analog, but it's getting closer, and it's certainly great, because it means that all the microphones are recorded individually, but on the day, if you want to mix them, I mean, we don't have the money for an outside broadcast truck with a big desk in. What could we do? We could have a room under the stage with a small pair of speakers, but then are you mixing for the deficiency of the speaker with not much bass? What's really going on? Always best, if you can, to record all the mics in a sequence, and then afterwards you can sit when all the pressure is off and do a really nice, hopefully a nice mix. The problem is, what microphones are you going to use? I mean, this is a tiny range of all the microphones that are available to a modern recording engineer. Essentially, they come down to 3 different types. You've got a moving coil mic. This is an SM58, sure, so it's a moving coil mic. And you see, this is a very popular mic with vocalists in a lot of live gigs. It's the go-to mic in a lot of clubs, and it's a great mic for that. Then you've got a typical, here's what's called a U89, and that's a great vocal mic, mainly more for guys. And then you've got other mics, like this is the famous mic that on Grey Eyes or Blue Eyes and the Beatles and everyone else called a U47. And that's just, it is a really beautiful vocal mic. But of course, there's so many different instruments. One of these mics might sound not too good on the cello, but very good on female vocal. So you've got to have a bit of experience and just think, oh, I'll narrow it down, I want to use that mic, that mic, that mic, that mic. And you can't rehearse because you've only got a day to review it. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to take you through the differences in sound by listening to all the mics adding together, adding up, and explain. My job is not to tell you what you should hear, my job is to take your money. And a lot of people have been worried as to how we can get your money, but thank you for coming in. There's a magnetic strip around the door, and everyone didn't spend £800 on cat food, what's going on? And so it'd be really nice to start. Let's start with the main pair. The main pair, this is made up of Elam 251s. They are omnidirectional and they are valve and they sound amazing. But the problem, when you put them about that far apart, you've got large diaphragms, the bass is amazing, everything's really good. But both mics can hear the right and the left at the same time. So a very nice chap called Dr. Jacklin, Mr. Jacklin, he created this lamb's wool disc, and we made our own. God, those lambs can run. Oh my God, well, we got to the end. How cool. So we've got some black lamb's wool, and the idea is that is roughly about 12 to 14 inches. So if I've got 2 mics there, and I put that disc in between, up to about 1 kilohertz, this disc will shadow that mic and then the other mic. So going from 20 kilohertz down to about 1, you're going to get a nice shadowing. What that means is that when you're listening in stereo, you've got a much nicer stereo position. let's forget all my chat. I know that people may wish to leave. God will kill a puppy. Let's listen to the orchestra with just the main pair. Okay, so that's just the main pair. For me personally, I found it's just a little bit narrow, so I think it would be nice to add a couple of mics which are called outriggers. So there's one on the left, one on the right, and they're panned left and right, and it's just to add a little bit more and fill in the body of the orchestra. Okay, so we're getting there. It's a big step forward. What would I like to do? Well, these guys here, the double basses, I think it'd be nice to bring just a little bit of them in. So we've got a couple of mics between two double basses, just to bring up the bottom end and their performance just a little bit more. Brass coming in, and usually, oh my God, in any orchestra recording room, the brass are so loud. I have great delight if they say, playing with them, would you like anything? I'd like to play Over the Hills and Far Away with the bagpipes all the way over there. So the brass really comes through, but a little bit muddled. So I thought, be nice for them to have their own mics and put just a little bit of their character, a little bit of definition, and just bring them up a little bit, because we have a tuba player, we've got trumpets, trombones, just a little bit of the brass. Okay, on the other side of the orchestra are our other brass instruments, the French horns. They're along there, and I've added a couple of mics behind the French horns, because when you see the French horn, the bell is going behind the player. So although they're sitting there with the all the levers doing all those wonderful things to change the different notes, that's why we put our mics behind the French horns, left and right, just to give a little bit of stereo body within the mix. So there we segue into the woodwind. And the poor old woodwind, they've got their lovely little instruments and everyone else is sort of blasting away. And, you know, it's true that if you're in the concert, you're listening through at their level, trying to pick up the woodwinds, and they do get a little bit lost. So what we've done here is to add a left, centre and right mic, so it's subtly left and right, but you will hear, I hope, you'll hear just a little bit more detail and definition from the woodwinds, which really helps the performance. Again, just to add a little bit of detail and definition, we've got our lovely timpani cap at the back, and so you only need really one mic for the timpani, and it's just a supple lift, because he is sort of doing little rolls and moves and things throughout the whole concert, apart from just the end when he's sort of banging away. So, poor guy, banging away. 30 years of studying and tears and no children. And anyway, so we've added a mic for him each year. So our friends on the other side of the orc, the lovely percussion. So we've got a chap here who's going to play the cymbals, another chap who's going to bang away at the big bass drum. But starting with the cymbals, there's a very slight shushiness that you heard from the cymbals. So it's just adding a little bit of definition to the cymbal chap. So we can hear the bass drum joining in, and we thought, well, I thought, you know, it'd be again the big skin is called tanning when you hear it vibrating a little bit. It's again a little bit of detail and definition in on the bass drum. So, what I like to do now, it's only about 4 hours long, the peak. No, it's only about 4 minutes long. It'll feel like 4 hours. And we'll play you the whole piece, but I think I'll play it off reel-to-reel tape, which is our Nagra there. And I think Nagra was, when they brought it out 45 years ago or whatever, I think Nagra was Polish for I speak or something like that. So I think that's quite a nice thing. Anyway, the machine is about 32 years old, and it worked on many BBC productions. They were mainly made for the film business, recording all the dialogue, and it's recorded quite a few things that I remember back in the BBC days. Anyway, so what I'll do is, we'll go to Black Padrica, And then what I thought it'd be nice to do is to play you the track of the non-digital Beastie Boy there, and then I thought, well, you can't just have the audience sitting there looking at the blank screen. So we put a few pictures in from photographed around the islands of Coralia, and I think it's something fun to watch as well as listen to the music. Have you got sport? Thanks.